The twin suns of Zarnith burned hot in the sky. Their golden rays covered the slave market in light, but nothing about this place felt warm. People from many planets gathered in the dusty arena, shouting, trading, and bidding on lives. The air smelled of sweat, metal, and fear. Cyrilla sat on the hard ground, her back against a rusted cage. Her skin was dry and cracked, the soft silver color now dull from hunger and heat. Her long white hair hung over her face like a curtain. Her eyes stared at nothing. Flies landed on her bare arms. She didn't move. There was no point. No one had even looked at her. Not once. Around her, buyers shouted prices. Other beings were pulled from cages, tall warriors, fast runners, strong workers. The auctioneer's voice boomed across the market, calling for higher offers. Chains clanked. Whips snapped. Cyrilla stayed still. "Next!" the auctioneer barked. 2 guards dragged her up. She stumbled forward. The crowd went quiet. "This one," the auctioneer said, waving a hand toward her, "is of the Nayari race, ancient people. Used to be healers and scholars now. Well, take a look." The crowd stayed silent. Thin. Weak. "Useless," a buyer from the Dralax race said. "She wouldn't last a cycle." "Her skin is cracked like dried wood," another laughed. "I wouldn't even take her for free." Cyrilla's shoulders dropped. This wasn't new. For days no one had shown interest. She had been left in the sun without food or water. The guards joked that even the flies were more loyal than buyers. "Not even worth a single unit," the auctioneer muttered. "Throw her back. We'll sell her bones later." Just then, a voice came from the crowd. Calm. Firm. "I'll pay for her." Heads turned. A tall figure stepped forward, dressed in worn space armor. His beard was short, his hair dark, and his eyes sharp but kind. A human. The auctioneer squinted. You want this one?" The human nodded. "Yes." "How much?" the auctioneer asked, confused. 500 credits, the human said. The crowd gasped. That was far too much for someone so broken. "Why would you pay that?" The auctioneer laughed. "She's not an object. She's a person," the human replied. "Her name is Cyrilla." Cyrilla blinked. No one had said her name in weeks. The auctioneer shrugged. "Your money. Take her." The guards pushed Cyrilla forward. She nearly fell, but the human caught her gently. "Easy," he said. She looked up at him, her voice hoarse. Why would you pay for me?" He smiled. "Because I see someone worth saving." Inside the ship, the Firefly's edge, the air was cool and clean. Cyrilla sat in a small room with a soft bed and clean water. She stared at the bowl of food in her hands. Her fingers shook. She didn't eat. She didn't speak. The human came in. "Take your time," he said. She finally asked, "Are you going to sell me again?" "No," he said. "My name is Captain Elias Reeve. I don't deal in slaves. You're free." Her voice was weak. "But you paid." "I paid so no one else could hurt you again." Cyrilla didn't know what to say. She had never met someone like this before. Days passed. Cyrilla stayed quiet, mostly watching the crew. There was a robot called Trix who liked to play music while fixing wires. A large insectoid mechanic named Click-Tick never spoke but handed her tools when she walked by. The doctor, a Martian-born woman named Rhea, gave Cyrilla medicine and checked her skin without asking questions. No one yelled. No one touched her without asking. Captain Elias gave her books in her old language. He had learned a few words and practiced them with her. Slowly, her heart began to feel something she had not known in a long time. Safety. One night, she stood on the deck looking out at the stars. Elias came beside her. "Do you miss your home?" he asked. She nodded. It was called Nayaria, a green world with soft rivers and bright moons. My people were gentle. We healed others. We never made weapons. "What happened?" he asked softly. "War came. from those who thought kindness was weakness. My people trusted too much. The enemy burned our cities and sold our survivors. I was just a child. Elias was quiet for a long time. I'm sorry. She nodded. So am I. A message came the next day, a bounty signal. The same slavers who had captured Cyrilla were hunting her down. They knew she was alive. They want her back, Rhea said. Well, they're not getting her, Elias replied firmly. Cyrilla stood in the doorway, her face pale. They will not stop. I am not worth this trouble. Yes, Elias said. You are. She looked at him, her eyes sharp for the first time. Then I will help you fight. I will not be weak anymore. Elias smiled. You were never weak. You just needed time. Later that night, Cyrilla sat alone, holding one of the old Nayari books Elias had given her. She touched the pages gently. It was a book of healing techniques and star maps. She whispered the words of her people's prayer. Let the stars remember us, let the wind carry our name, let kindness be our strength, and truth our shield. She closed the book and stood. For the first time, she felt like a piece of herself had come back. She was not just a survivor. She was Cyrilla of the Nayari, and someone had seen her worth. Cyrilla woke slowly to the soft hum of the firefly's edge. The room was still dim, and the ship lights changed gently from night to morning mode. For the first time in many weeks, she had slept without fear. The blanket was soft. The bed didn't shake. No chains, no guards, no orders. She sat up and looked around. On a small table near her bed was a steaming cup. A note rested beside it. Nayari tea. Found the recipe in the archives. Cyrilla blinked. Nayari tea? She picked it up, smelling the soft scent of herbs. Her eyes filled with quiet tears. This simple kindness, this memory of home, was more than she expected. Later that day, she walked slowly into the main hall of the ship. It was alive with sound. The robot, Trix, was humming a human song while fixing a ceiling panel. Click-Tick, the insectoid mechanic, moved silently through a pile of tools. No one stared at her. No one shouted. Captain Elias entered from the bridge. You're up. Good. Hungry? Cyrilla nodded slowly. The group sat at the round dining table. A simple meal was placed before her. Not slave food, not scraps. It was warm and shared equally. Cyrilla watched as each crew member took a piece and passed the rest along. Rhea, the Martian-born doctor, handed her a plate. You need to eat, girl, you're healing. Cyrilla nodded. She took a bite and blinked in surprise. Elias smiled. You like it? It tastes like the food from Nayarea, she said softly. I found the recipe. Thought it might bring back something good. That day, Cyrilla began to explore the ship more. The engine room smelled of oil and fire. Click-Tick let her hand him tools, then showed her how to check coolant pipes. Trix showed her how to use the ship's library system. It contained information from hundreds of planets. Elias had even downloaded books from Nayari history, language, and medicine. She sat for hours reading the old stories of her people, their gentle wisdom, their harmony with nature, their peaceful ways. She whispered their ancient words under her breath, slowly rebuilding what the slavers had tried to erase. One evening, a warning light blinked on the control panel. The ship had passed near an asteroid field. It was normal, but Elias checked the scanners twice. Then a second light appeared, small but red. Elias frowned. That's not normal. Cyrilla entered the room. Is something wrong? Maybe, he said. Something's been trailing us, quietly. No message, no ID code. I think someone's watching us. Cyrilla's heart sank. Slavers. Elias nodded slowly. Could be. They know you escaped. And slavers don't like losing property, even though I don't believe anyone should ever be property. What will you do? She asked. We'll handle it, he said. But we need to move fast. That night, Cyrilla stood on the observation deck. The stars looked cold and endless. Her mind went back to the cage, the marketplace, the jeers of the crowd. But she wasn't in a cage now. She was on a ship, with people who treated her like a person. And if the slavers came again, she would not sit quietly. Elias walked in beside her. "You're thinking hard." Cyrilla nodded. "I am tired of running, but I am not strong." "You're stronger than you think," he said. She looked at him. "How did you learn my language?" "Bit by bit. I found old records. I thought if I ever met a Nayari, I should speak to them in their own voice." Cyrilla was quiet. Then, she asked, "Why are you kind to me?" Elias shrugged. "I fought in wars. I saw too many good people lost. I promised myself I'd never let that happen again if I could help it." She looked at him carefully. "You risked your life to buy me. Now you risk your ship. Why?" He smiled gently. "Because when no one sees someone's worth, someone else must. That's what makes us human." The next day, the crew prepared the ship. Shields were checked, weapons powered up. Cyrilla asked Elias if she could help. "Sure," he said. "Rhea can show you the medical bay." In the clean white room, Rhea showed Cyrilla how to pack emergency kits and scan for injuries. Cyrilla's hands moved with care. The Nayari had always been healers. Later, a small alarm buzzed in the hallway. Click-Tick had hurt his leg while fixing the rear vent. Rhea said, "Can you handle this?" Cyrilla nodded and knelt beside him. She touched the swollen area, closed her eyes, and whispered a Nayari word of healing. Her hands glowed faintly with blue light. Click-Tick clicked his mandibles in surprise. The pain faded. He tapped her arm gently in thanks. Cyrilla smiled. Elias saw it all from the doorway. "You did that?" She nodded. "It's a Nayari skill. We use life energy to ease pain." "I knew there was something special about you," he said. That night, the ship's sensors picked up a signal. A slaver ship had locked onto their location. It was bigger, stronger, faster. Elias stood at the front of the bridge. "They're coming, but we're not giving her up." Cyrilla stepped forward. "Then let me help you fight." "You're not a fighter," Elias said. "I don't need to be," she replied. "I have knowledge. The Nayari weren't warriors, but we were wise. Let me try something." He looked at her for a moment. Then he nodded. "All right, let's hear it." Using the ship's scanner, Cyrilla located a nearby moon, small, quiet, full of old metal. She remembered reading about it in a Nayari record. Long ago, it was a peaceful science base. The slavers wouldn't know. "Take us there," she said. "I'll guide us through." The ship flew low under the surface. Cyrilla stood beside Elias, directing the path through hidden tunnels and echo chambers. The slaver ship followed, loud, slow, unaware of the traps. Cyrilla activated an old signal from the Nayari records. A pulse shot through the moon's crust. Ancient machines lit up. Hidden defense nodes opened. The slaver ship was surrounded by strange orbs that floated and pulsed. "What is this?" Rhea whispered. Cyrilla answered, "Nayari guardians. They protect the weak. They will not let the slavers pass." The orbs circled the slaver ship. No shots were fired. But the ship turned sharply and fled. They were safe. Back on the Firefly's edge, the crew sat in silence. Rhea spoke first. "What did you do?" "I remembered," Cyrilla said softly. "And the guardians remembered me." Elias looked at her with respect. "You didn't just help us. You saved us." Cyrilla didn't smile. She didn't cry. She simply stood tall and said, "I'm not someone to be saved anymore. I'm ready to stand on my own." The Firefly's edge glided through space, far from the slaver systems. The stars outside sparkled like a river of light. Inside the ship, peace had returned. Cyrilla sat at the round table with the crew. They shared a warm meal. Laughter filled the air as Trix the robot played soft music from an earth instrument called the violin. "You saved us back there," Rhea said, smiling at Cyrilla. "I didn't know the Nayari had machines like that." We didn't use them often, Cyrilla replied. They were for protection, not war. My people believed in peaceful strength. Captain Elias nodded. And you remembered it just when we needed it most? Cyrilla looked down. I'm still learning. I was taken when I was young. There's so much I forgot. Well, said Elias, we've got time. The universe is wide, and the stars are patient. Over the next few days, Cyrilla continued to grow stronger. She helped Click-Tick repair damaged wires in the engine room. She worked with Rhea to restock medical kits. She even sat beside Elias on the bridge, watching how he flew the ship and used the star maps. One morning, Elias handed her a tablet. This is a map of the neutral zone. There's a council meeting there in 6 days. We've been invited. Cyrilla blinked. A council? Yes, he said. Leaders from many planets. Traders, peacekeepers, and old friends. They talk about laws, safety, and how to handle threats like slavers. Cyrilla's eyes darkened at the word slavers, but she nodded. Why are we going? Elias looked at her. Because you're not the only one they've hurt, and maybe it's time someone told the council the truth. Cyrilla was quiet for a moment. Then she asked, You want me to speak? Yes, Elias said. You saw their cruelty. You escaped it. If the council hears your voice, it might open their eyes. I'm not strong with words. You don't need fancy words, he said. You just need to tell your truth. The Firefly's Edge arrived at the neutral zone 5 days later. The zone was a large space station floating between galaxies. It was a symbol of peace, where no warships were allowed. The station was full of life. Ships from 100 worlds docked at the towers. Beings of every kind walked the long silver halls. Tall, short, winged, scaled, soft, hard-shelled. Cyrilla stayed close to Elias. Her heart beat fast as memories of crowds and cages filled her mind. Easy, Elias said gently. You're safe here. Cyrilla nodded. The council hall was huge. Long, curved seats lined the edges. In the center stood a raised platform where speakers shared their stories. Flags from many worlds hung from the ceiling. A Martian council member welcomed them. Captain Reeve, your presence is always a gift. This time I come with someone greater than myself, Elias said. He turned to Cyrilla. This is Cyrilla of the Nayari. The Martian looked surprised. We thought the Nayari were gone. Cyrilla bowed her head. Some of us remain, just forgotten. The next day, the council meeting began. Leaders spoke of trade routes, pirate attacks, and ship laws. Cyrilla sat beside Elias, her hands folded in her lap. Her heart thudded like a drum. Then Elias stood. Counselors, he said, I ask for time to let someone speak. A voice you've not heard, but one that must be heard. The Martian counselor nodded. The floor is yours. Cyrilla rose slowly. All eyes turned to her. She walked to the center. Her knees trembled. Her voice was soft at first. My name is Cyrilla. I come from Nearia, a world that once sang with peace. My people were healers, teachers, and dreamers. We had no armies, only gardens, no prisons, only libraries. She paused. Then came the slavers. They promised help. We trusted them. They took our children, burned our temples, sold us like broken tools. I was just a girl when I was taken. Some council members leaned forward, listening closely. For many years I was silent. No one saw me. Not even flies cared if I lived. I sat on an auction block while people walked past. They saw no value in a thin, quiet girl. She looked up, her voice stronger now. But one person stopped. A human. He didn't see weakness. He saw worth. He paid not to own me, but to free me. Elias watched from his seat, his eyes steady. I'm not here to ask for pity, Cyrilla continued. I ask for action. Slavers are not ghosts. They move freely, hiding behind trade. They hurt the weak while we sit in safety. She looked around the room, voice clear. If my people can be lost in the silence, so can yours. If no one speaks, for the broken, the breaking will never stop. The room was quiet. Even the air felt still. Then a soft sound began, clapping, first from the Martian, then from the Venari elder, then from all around the hall. Cyrilla bowed her head and stepped back. Later, in the halls outside the council chamber, beings of many races came to her. "You spoke with strength," one said. "You reminded us of what we forgot," said another. Elias placed a hand on Cyrilla's shoulder. "You did it." Cyrilla breathed deeply. "I was afraid." "Bravery isn't the absence of fear," he replied. "It's standing tall while afraid." That night, the Firefly's Edge sat quietly in the docks. Cyrilla stood near the viewing window. She looked out at the stars and thought about the faces that listened to her. She felt something new in her chest. Not just freedom, but purpose. Rhea entered the room. "I found something you might want to see," she said, handing Cyrilla a small disc. Cyrilla placed it into the screen panel. A soft glow appeared. Images from Nearia long ago. Lush green forests, white towers that touch the clouds, Neari children running through fields, music and laughter. Tears rolled down Cyrilla's cheeks. "I want to rebuild," she whispered. "I want to help others remember, not just the pain but the beauty." Elias entered and heard her words. "You will," he said. "And we'll help." She turned toward them. "Then let's begin." The Firefly's Edge moved silently across a calm part of the galaxy. The council had listened to Cyrilla's voice, and now, something had changed. Cyrilla stood on the deck, watching the stars. She was no longer just a rescued girl. She was a symbol, a voice, a survivor with a purpose. "Where to now?" she asked Elias. He handed her a glowing disc. "This is your choice." She looked at the disc. It showed several points across space, places marked in red. "These are worlds once touched by the Neari," Elias said. "Places where your people lived, taught, and maybe where others still hide." Cyrilla's heart skipped a beat. "There might be survivors?" "We don't know," Elias said. "But there's hope." Click-tick buzzed quietly nearby. I traced one signal to the virile dust belt. It's weak, but Neari energy. Cyrilla's hands tightened. "Then that's where we'll go." The virile dust belt was not a friendly place. It was made of rock and ice, spinning fast in space. Sharp asteroids floated like broken teeth. Many ships avoided it. But Cyrilla felt something calling her there. The Firefly's Edge entered the belt slowly. Lights flickered. The engines hummed low. "I feel it," Cyrilla whispered. Something old, something still alive. Suddenly the radar beeped. "Unmarked signal," Elias said. "Coordinates locked." Click-tick turned. "It's deep inside, the field. Many ships crash here." "We'll make it," Cyrilla said. The ship moved carefully, dodging rocks and frozen debris. For 2 hours, they pushed deeper into the belt. Cyrilla watched from the front window, her eyes wide. Then she saw it. A dark, broken station, half covered in dust and ice. It was shaped like a flower with closed petals. "That's Neari design," she said. "It's one of our memory vaults." The ship landed softly on a flat platform. The station lights blinked slowly. No one had touched it in many years. "Let's go," Elias said. Inside, the air was thin but safe. Cyrilla stepped through the old halls with a quiet heart. She touched the walls. Her fingers felt the soft pulse of old energy. "This place was built to store memories," she said. "Our knowledge, our hopes." Trix helped light the way. Click-tick scanned the floor for dangers. They reached a central chamber. A glowing, tree-shaped machine stood in the center. Cyrilla placed her hand on it. The branches lit up with soft golden light. A voice echoed through the room. "Not a real person, just a memory. Welcome, daughter of Nearia." Cyrilla's eyes widened. "It knows me." "If you hear this," the voice said, "then darkness touched our world. We have hidden our hearts, but our light is not gone." Machine showed a star map, 12 glowing points. These are the last seeds, the voice continued. Places where our people escaped, some in stasis, some in hiding. If you are Nayari, then go to them. Awaken them. Remind them of who they are. The map faded. Cyrilla fell to her knees. They survived. Elias helped her stand. Then your journey has only begun. Back on the ship, Cyrilla copied the map to the Firefly system. These places are far apart, Clicktick said. Some are in unknown space. I will go, Cyrilla said. To everyone. We'll go together, Elias replied. But before they could set a course, another signal flashed on the radar. Sharp, fast, and moving toward them. Trix beeped. Unknown ship incoming, speed high, weapons hot. Rhea ran to the control panel. It's not Council, it's not friendly. Slavers, Cyrilla said coldly. They followed us. Elias jumped into action. Shields up, prepare for emergency flight. The Firefly's edge lifted from the station platform just as a dark ship appeared from behind a large asteroid. Its surface was covered in scars and spikes. A message flashed. Return the property, or be destroyed. Cyrilla stood at the center of the bridge. Her face was calm. I am no one's property. Let them come, Elias said. We won't run this time. The slaver ship fired first. A blast hit the edge of the shields, shaking the ship. Lights flickered. Sparks flew. Clicktick shouted, Shields at 70. Elias turned the ship sharply. Cyrilla, remember anything in the vault that can help us? She thought fast. Yes. There was an old defense key. It activates the station's routes. Can you trigger it from here? He asked. No, she said. Someone has to go back. Elias started to stand, but Cyrilla stopped him. I'll go. I know the path. Cyrilla. Rhea began. But Cyrilla was already running. She moved through the dusty halls of the old station. The walls trembled with blasts from above. She reached the central tree again and touched its base. Defense routes activate, she whispered. The machine glowed. A deep sound rumbled beneath her feet. Outside, sharp metal vines burst from under the platform. They wrapped around the slaver ship like giant claws, holding it in place. The slaver ship fired again, but the vines absorbed the energy. Cyrilla's voice echoed from the station, through the radio. This is Nayari ground. You are trespassing. The slaver ship tried to break free, but the roots held firm. Finally, it sent one last message, this isn't over. Then it warped away, escaping with damage. Cyrilla returned to the Firefly's edge. The crew stood waiting. You did it, Elias said. Again. She was tired, but she smiled. I'm learning that I'm not just someone who survived. I'm someone who can protect. That night, the stars outside seemed brighter. The crew sat around the table, calm and quiet. Cyrilla opened the star map again. She pointed to one of the glowing seeds. This one, she said. This is our next stop. Elias nodded. We follow your lead. Rhea raised her cup. To the light that never went out. Cyrilla looked at them all. Humans, insectoids, robots, and more. They were not Nayari, but they were her family now, and together they would search for the lost pieces of her people. Not with weapons, but with hope. The Firefly's edge flew across the stars with a quiet purpose. Inside the ship, Cyrilla stood near the main screen, looking at a single point on the star map. It glowed softly, the next seed of her people. A lost Nayari stasis pod was hidden there, waiting to be found. Elias entered the room and stood beside her. We're close now, about an hour away. Cyrilla nodded slowly. I feel something, like a song from far away. You think someone's alive there? I hope so, she said. Even if it's only one, it will be enough. The coordinates led them to a small moon, orbiting a dead planet. It looked like a ball of ice. Nothing moved on its surface. There were no signals, no signs of life, only silence. Clicktick zoomed in the ship's scanner. I see something under the ice. Metal shaped like a flower. Nayari. Cyrilla's eyes lit up. It's one of our life pods. They sleep beneath the ground, hidden from enemies. Trix beeped softly. But power levels are weak. If it's still running, it won't last long. Elias turned to Cyrilla. Let's go wake them up. They landed the Firefly's edge beside a frozen cliff. The moon was cold and quiet. Thick layers of snow covered the ground, but the crew worked quickly. Cyrilla led them to a spot where the snow felt thinner. Here, she said. The roots of the vault are just below. Click-Tick used a small laser to melt through the ice. Slowly, a silver hatch appeared. Ancient symbols glowed around its edge. Cyrilla placed her hand on the center. The door opened with a soft hiss. Inside was a long tunnel of glass and light. The walls pulsed with faded energy. Everything was covered in a thin layer of frost. The group moved deeper until they reached a round room filled with glass pods. Cyrilla rushed forward. There, she said. Someone is inside. Inside the largest pod was a young woman with soft golden skin and white markings on her forehead. Nayari signs of a healer. Her eyes were closed, her body still. A faint green light blinked near her chest. She's alive, Cyrilla whispered. But her lifelight is dim. Click-Tick examined. The pod, power failing. If we don't wake her now, she may not survive. Can we help her? Elias asked. There's a chance, Click-Tick said, but we must be careful. The wrong move could harm her mind. Cyrilla stepped forward. Let me try. Nayari pods. Respond to our own energy. I know the prayer of light. My mother taught it to me before she was taken. She placed both hands on the pod. She closed her eyes and began to sing. Her voice was soft at first, a simple melody full of love and memory. The Nayari song was not just music. It was energy, shaped into sound. It called to the sleeping mind with warmth and hope. The room glowed slightly. The light inside the pod grew brighter. The woman's fingers moved. Cyrilla kept singing, her voice steady. Then the Nayari girl opened her eyes. Slowly. Carefully. Like someone waking from a long dream. She looked at Cyrilla and whispered, Sister. Cyrilla smiled, tears in her eyes. Yes, you're safe now. The girl's name was Velia. She had been a healer before the slavers attacked Nayaria. Her family had placed her in the stasis pod, hoping the world would heal before she woke up. Cyrilla helped her sit near the warmth of the Firefly's edge. You have been sleeping for a long time, Cyrilla said gently. Where is everyone else? Velia asked. Cyrilla's eyes grew heavy. Gone. Taken. But you are not alone anymore. Velia placed her hand over Cyrilla's. You remembered our ways. You brought me back. You're not the only one, Cyrilla said, and she showed her the star map. There are more. We'll find them. But peace did not last long. As the crew prepared to leave the moon, the warning alarm blared. Trix called out, Ships incoming, 3 of them, not friendly. Rhea checked the scanners. It's them again, slavers, the ones who chased us before. Click-Tick added, They've followed our trail. They want the Nayari girl. Cyrilla stood. They won't take her. Elias looked at her. Then we fight. This time the Firefly's edge would not run. The crew took positions. Elias flew the ship in tight loops to dodge blasts. Rhea fired from the gun controls. Trix activated defense drones. Cyrilla stood beside the Nayari vault. She remembered the roots from the last station. She remembered how they fought not with anger, but with light. She reached into the core of the ship, touching the energy crystals the Nayari had once used to guide their people. She whispered, Give us the strength to protect. The crystals pulsed. A beam of light fired from the ship, hitting one of the slaver ships directly. Its engines shut down and it spun away, disabled. Another slaver ship tried to flee, but a sudden group of council ships arrived, responding to a distress signal Elias had sent earlier. They surrounded the last slaver vessel. Stand down, said a Martian voice. You are under arrest for violating the neutral peace treaty. The slaver ships were taken away. The battle was over. Back on the ship, the crew rested. Velia sat beside Cirilla. You protected me, she said, like a true guardian. Cirilla shook her head. I didn't do it alone. They helped me. The humans, the insectoid, the machine, all of them. You trust them? With my life, Cirilla said. Velia smiled. Then maybe the future is brighter than the past. Weeks passed. Cirilla and the crew followed the map, seed by seed. On one world, they found an old Nayari teacher. On another, 2 artists who had survived in secret. Each time Cirilla sang the prayer of light. Each time someone woke, her people were coming back, one by one, and word spread across the stars. People spoke of the Nayari girl who once sat in silence, whom no one wanted. Now she was a leader, a restorer, a voice that brought light to the forgotten. One day on a quiet hill of a green world, Cirilla stood beneath a sky full of stars. Velia and others stood behind her. The firefly's edge waited nearby. Elias joined her. You've come far, he said. She nodded. There's still more to do. You've become more than you ever imagined. Cirilla looked up at the stars. No, she said. I only became what I truly was the day someone saw me, not as a thing but as a person, and helped me remember. She reached into her pocket and held a small silver token Elias had given her on the first day. You paid for my freedom, she said. But now, I give something back. She turned to her people, her voice steady and strong. Let us rebuild. Let our name rise again, not with power, but with peace. Not with force, but with unity. We are Nayari, they answered in one voice. We are light. And the stars, silent and ancient, seemed to shine a little brighter.